Hi everyone, welcome to Sven's Bricks. My name is Sven. I'm going to be doing a very brief run through of 21 new LEGO City sets coming in 2023. I wouldn't normally do this type of video, but I was so impressed by the new LEGO City range that I thought it was worth covering, at least briefly, some of the sets, just to give you some of my thoughts and hopefully to encourage a bit of discussion in the comments. So let's get cracking.
So we're just going to begin by having a look at these 4+ sets. There's 2 of them. I'll skim through them quick because we've seen these type of sets before with the sort of backdrop to them, and there's not a whole lot to say about them really, to be honest with you. I think this is perfectly good, but nothing very exciting, and the other one is very similar, but it's a fire station. There's a couple of nice printed parts for the panels on the back, as there tend to be with the 4+ sets, and I like the logo at the top here. I think this one is probably going to be slightly more popular with the children because of the slide, but the personal standout for me is the face print on the popcorn seller, which I really like because of the sideburns. That's just me. I like sideburns, and I think it's a really good looking figure. So I think that's the standout for me. I like the helmets as well. I think they were introduced in the last season, but otherwise this is pretty straightforward 4+ material, and as usual a little bit overpriced at €35. So we're now going to move into the cheapest price point for the City range, which is the €10 price point. I think there are several good sets in the €10 price point. I wouldn't normally be all that interested in that price point, but actually this time I'm going to be picking up at least 2 or 3 of these, and I can tell you why. Starting with the ATV and otter habitat, we get 2 of these new molds for the otter animals, and in the background here we have what I would call a pretty faultless side build. Every single piece here is usable. There's very, very nice part usage here. We've got a 2x6 blue tile here for the water. We have a printed log piece here. We have a frog, and we have a tree with some nice greenery. So that whole part there is really useful. So I think for €10, considering that you on top of that get a figure with a very nice torso print and a very nice face print. In fact, she's actually got an alternative face as well, which I'll show in just a moment. And then 4 small animals on top of that. Yes, I said that. 4. Look at that. So the ATV is, yeah, we've seen those before, especially with these parts, these sort of wheel arch parts. But I think it's a good color combination. And I think you can see that a bit better in this shot here, and you can also see the alternative face for the minifigure there. So this set I will definitely be picking up. We will move now on to the Vet Van Rescue, which is actually a 4+ set. This one's pretty straightforward and nothing particularly exciting for adult fans, but a terrific set for kids because it includes a couple of animals, a little vehicle, 2 figures, and then I think most interesting of all for adult fans will be the torsos. Not sure if they're brand new prints. I think they probably are, but these are very interchangeable with doctors, nurses, surgeons, vets, and you get 2 of them. Coupled with the printed panel there, I could see a few adults picking up this set just for the parts. Moving on, we have the park tractor. So this is like a sort of park warden, I suppose, not a normal tractor, but a kind of gardener, maintenance worker for parks. I think that this is one of the standout in the €10 bracket, mainly because of the very nice torso print on the worker, the new mold for the watering can, at least I think it's a brand new mold for the watering can, relatively new printed tile in the form of a ladybird, which I think is super fun and cute, and the squirrel and acorn tile. So there's some really, really nice parts here. And then we also have the 2/3 high brick with the hole in it, which for me is an extremely interesting part. I first discovered that with the Aston Martin Speed Champions set. but here they come in handy holding these stalks. There's 3 of them. There's one in the back there, and we also have a very nice looking park tractor there. So again, I think we've got some good pieces here, and I think that the tractor itself will work in many different scenarios, and altogether a very nice €10 set. This one perhaps not as exciting, a bit more of a standard affair from Lego. Police bike car chase. I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this set except for one thing, which is the print on this guy's face. Just brilliant, if you ask me. I think it's just brilliant. This one here you can see it best. So, I mean, awesome printing for the gold around the glasses, and the fact that you can barely make out his eyes underneath just gives it a really realistic look. And then, of course, the sideburns on the side makes him look super sleazy, super dodgy. Really like that face print. Otherwise, this is probably going to sell relatively well. A couple of vehicles, couple of figures, a bit more what you would expect of a standard affair from Lego City. And then we have the 4x4 fire truck rescue, which is just a small fire truck, fairly standard affair for this one, but we do include what I believe is a new mold for a cat. At least I believe so, because I think I've seen that in the Monkey Kid range as well. We have a new print for the figure, a little side build, and a fire truck. This one's not particularly exciting, but for €10 you do get suspension, so you can wobble it from side to side. A nice little playable toy. Finally, at this price point, we have the electric sports car, and this is a very modern looking set, with bright colours used throughout, a matching charging point, a fairly good looking figure with matching torso, and then we also have 2 of these new windscreen pieces which fit together to make a kind of entirely enclosed glass roof. And we have solar panels, which Lego tend to be including in these more modern sets. And then having a look at this image, we can also see that it comes with what looks to me like a couple of printed parts, or maybe it's one printed part to make up the battery in the back of the car. And here we have the Octan logo. So even the Octan brand has been updated, and we have a folding spoiler. So this set I will definitely be picking up as well. I think it's nice to see a different looking car from Lego, and this is an excellent little design. So I quickly skimmed through the stunt bikes because I didn't think that they were all that exciting this season. I think this is the better of the 2. I think that this is a helmet or a headpiece that goes on top of a minifig head, and just about the only thing worth mentioning in the set. I'm not sure how reusable it is, to be honest, unless you like that kind of thing. Sort of almost a little bit scary horror look to it. But otherwise, the torso, I suppose, is perhaps worth mentioning, and the rips in the legs or the trousers, I suppose, might be appealing to some people. But otherwise, this is one I will skip personally. And I think I'll probably skip the cyber stunt bike as well. It's also got a very bright modern look to it, but it's a bit something and nothing for me personally, at least. I like the printing on the face, but I haven't really understood what this is on the back of him. There's a sort of backpack on the back of him. I don't know. But these are nice playable sets, these little stunt bikes. The question is how many of them you need, really. We have 4 or 5 at home now, and I kind of feel that's enough. Even if my kids do play with them a fair bit, because they've got really good action from that back wheel. But I don't think that these 2 new ones were anywhere near as good as the last season with the bathtub and a couple of others. So I'll be skipping this one personally. The next price bracket is the €20 price bracket. I've got a couple of good sets here, although I think that this is one of the less exciting ones. This one is, I suppose, supposed to go in line with the pizza van and the ice cream van. This is the penguin slushy van. Of course, selling drinks or slushy ice. And my biggest problem with this one, I think, is actually the front of the set, because it's just super weird looking with what is supposed to be a penguin face on the front. But there's just something about the lights and the beak, and then the fact that that colour isn't then continued down the rest of the model. It sort of doesn't really blend together very well for me. If you look at it here, this orange and yellow really should be part of the rest of the design there somewhere. And I think that because it's not, it's somewhat let down by that. I do quite like the penguin figure. He's okay, but I think if that was done as a CMF, it would have been done with a bit more love. I think a bit more passion. The little girl is perfectly passable, nothing exciting. And I think in general this set is not one of the more exciting ones, but I do like the slushy build on the top. I think that's pretty cool. It's possible that I'll pick this up, especially if I see it in sale, just to go alongside the pizza van. Moving swiftly on then to the construction digger. I think this is a bit better. We have a good looking digger here, and we have a little bench. I think that the idea is that they're supposed to be building this bench, because we have kind of what's the start of a bit of rubble or something here, which they're clearing first of all with the digger. And the digger then actually comes with a forklift attachment on the front of it here. So that you can then place this sort of seating area into this newly cleared area. The seats themselves are nice. I think that that is a light tan, which is a very nice colour to get for the little seats. But then we also get 4 masonry bricks and 4 of these printed tiles that are made to look like wooden planks. So we get some good parts here, and we also get some of the solar panels, of course. And I think altogether this is coming out pretty good at 20 euros. It's possibly a bit expensive. The price count on this one is 148. It would be nice to see it at 15 euros. But I think this might be one that I'll consider at 20, especially if I see it on sale, 25% off. I think I'll pick this one up. Next we have the mobile police dog training, and I think this set's pretty cool. It's got kind of 3 pieces of an obstacle course here, so these kind of steps to jump up on, a little line, sort of tightrope thing to walk across, and then a sort of seesaw. And those are actually interchangeable. You can just about see here on this sort of base here. It's kind of almost modular, I suppose. But have you noticed that that is the torso of the cactus girl from the CMF series? They're supposed to be the heavily padded arms in the suits that these dog trainers wear. And it's just brilliant. It works really, really well. You can't tell that it's come from a cactus or anything like that. I'm not sure how versatile the piece is, but if you need a piece like that, then that is absolutely perfect. And then, of course, we have a puppy. Look at that. We have a little puppy to go along with the mother or the father, I suppose. Super adorable new mold. And I'll definitely be picking this one up just for that, to be honest with you. But then again, I do actually really like the look of the car as well. It's got a really good front end, very modern looking with the slim lights at the front. And it opens up at the back to enable you to put the animals in. I'll just briefly show you how the modular bits can be removed. We get a dog poo, and we get some good prints for the faces. So this one also, probably a bit more worthwhile, coming in at 197 pieces for 20 euros. So I think this one's a bit more of a given purchase for me. Next up we have the fire rescue boat. This one is a bit closer to the standard affair that we expect from Lego City. However, there are a couple of things that I think are worth noting. First of all is the dinghy, which I really like because of this windscreen piece on it and the little motor that sticks out at the back. So here you can see how that comes out, and I think that looks really nice for a small little boat. I don't know, it's just got a lot of character. It looks sort of modern and realistic, but it's using so few parts. I think it's well designed. And then we also get this guy with a jetpack on his back firing water tiles out. I don't know who comes up with these ideas, but I think they're good fun. The boat, of course, comes with this big single mold, which is actually quite nice. It's a bit thinner than the old one, gives it a bit more of a streamlined look, and certainly gives you the impression that this thing can travel at some speed. So not a bad set. It'll probably sell quite well. Comes in 144 pieces, 20 euros, but considering the big mold, I think the value is okay. Might be nicer to see this one down at 18 euros. 15 is probably a bit of a push considering 3 figures and 2 vehicles. The 4x4 Off-Roader Adventures is the first of the more expensive sets. This one coming in at 30 euros. This particular set has 252 pieces. So the price to part ratio is not quite there, but we do get some nice things here. We've got these very, very large tyres, which I guess is what's pushing the price up a little bit. And then we also get these printed rally light pieces, which have been used before in the Lego rally cars. We get the medium-sized legs in the female character with a nice motorbiking helmet, or in this case, I guess it's a mountain biking helmet. And then in the corner there, we have a little rabbit. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of small animals in the Lego City range, which I think is great. You know, as a cost for Lego, it must be very, very minimal to include small molds like this. But for a child, you know, there's a lot, it adds a lot of playability just to receive an extra little character in the form of an animal. So I think that's really great that they're including those. We then have a tent made up of 4 of these large flag parts. I think that's pretty nice looking, to be honest. And I think, I haven't quite understood, but I think there's a sort of printed sleeping bag or something in there. And then I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a cool box or what this is, but it's nice to get those ingot pieces in the orange there. So I think that this set is going to have a lot of playability, and I think at 30 euros we're getting a large vehicle, we're getting 2 bikes, we're getting 2 figures, we're getting 2 animals. I think there's a lot of fun to be had here for 30 euros, in all honesty. Prefer to see it at 25. I'm not grumbling too much though at 30. Good job. This one, however, I think the price is a bit puzzling, and I'll come back to it at the end because you'll see why I find it so puzzling. But this is the recycling truck. I think that the design is very good. I think that it looks modern, mainly down to the color and the large windscreen at the front here. It gives it a really realistic and a modern look. And also we have these larger wheels, which really help. We get a couple of workers with the bright colored torsos, which are pretty nice. And then we get this sort of like Greenpeace type character at the back here, or Green Party, with what I think is a new hairpiece, a lot of ringlets in there, a lot of lovely detail in those ringlets. And then we get a torso with some trees on it, or a little forest, and a shell around her necklace. So I think there's some good pieces here. And then we get some recycling bins with some masonry bricks on the side and a little cat, because of course we need the little animals. So this is a nice set, but I think at 35 euros, it's steep, to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure where they get that price from. I suppose, actually, I've just noticed that this is one of the half-sized road plates that's being used here, which is now in green. So I guess there's a bit of cost in that. But otherwise, I'm struggling to see where the money's going for this one. You know, we've got 3 figures. Yeah, this one should be at 30 euros. I don't get the 35 euro price point here, especially not when you'll see what's coming up. This one is probably not so much for me, but I think my kids would like this set. It's the gaming tournament truck at 45 euros. I think that the standout for me here personally are the figures, which we can have a better look at here. We've got some great colours, torsos and prints to these. I love the pink hair, the blue hair, the matching sword on the torso, the matching gauntlet or glove on the torso, the matching bars on the torso, and the matching microphone with the headpiece on the torso of this one. I think the characters are really, really good here. However, I'm not really personally convinced about the rest of the build. I think that the front of the lorry looks pretty nice. This is obviously, you know, one of these big game streaming shows. So these are supposed to be TV screens, I believe, up here, and then we have a couple of gamers playing against each other. And I suppose the idea is that the lorry pulls up, a crowd gathers and watches. But I think that the issue for me is that when you close that, it's not great looking. So I think this large panel piece here was actually introduced with the Harry Potter books. It was quite interesting to see that in black on the side of a lorry. But I think it's kind of ugly. I'm not so sure that it really helps the build all that much. I mean, it kind of looks all right like that. But I'm not convinced about the design overall of this lorry. It's certainly nothing that shouts at me particularly. I think the figures are nice, and that's about it with this one, really. Quite like the color scheme. But We are looking at a €45 price tag here, certainly more than I would be willing to spend on it. 344 pieces, the price to part ratio is not good here. If my kids are really, really keen to pick this one up, then it'll be in a sale for sure. More interesting for me personally is the custom car garage. We get the same amount of figures in this one, but I think we get a bit more creativity, a bit more playability in this one. So we get two vehicles, but then we also get this sort of backdrop, which is supposed to be the sort of interior of a custom car garage, hence the name. And you can swap those around. So you can change the fronts. You get 4 different fronts, 4 different backs, and you can swap those around in order to come up with a design that you like. And I like it when Lego encourage this, because ultimately, it tends to lead to children pulling apart the models even more in order to create their own designs. But I think the designs as they are out of the box are really, really nice. They're very low to the ground, very modern looking with the color schemes and the designs. Again, we get the printed rally tiles on the front here. We get some nice stickers. And overall, I think this is a really funky looking set. Just have a quick look at the figures here because I think these are worth noting as well. I think all 4 of them are pretty nice. The blue overall is quite fitting for the chap in glasses here. We get a driver with a bit of dirt on his cheek. I think the standout here is the pink haired character here with a good looking torso and what I think are medium sized legs there. And then finally we get the second female character here with a nice looking torso. All in all, I think I might pick this one up when it hits a sale. I'm not saying that the value isn't there, but for these types of sets, I don't like to spend full retail price. I think the value is pretty much there though, €50. I think that the amount of stuff that you get is good. I think the price to part ratio is good. But most of all, I think for children, this has tons of playability and inspiration to help them to come up with their own designs. So I think this is a big win. Then we go on to a €55 set, the Fire Command truck. This one is not quite as successful in the way that it looks for me, but there's tons of play features in this. So we get quite a large fire truck here, and then we also get 2 smaller builds. We get a little drone and we get a small remote control kind of car here, which I think is intended to drive into areas to retrieve things. And then we also get a kind of electrical maintenance box that's caught on fire and a little rabbit habitat in the back there with, yes, you guessed it, a small animal. And I'll just quickly show you because there's a ton of play features. We have this door that opens for the remote control vehicle. We have this electrical box, which this post falls down and the fire pops up. So it looks like that, and then it falls down and the fire pops up. We also then get a water cannon on the top. We have no less than 4 doors, so I think you could fit at least 3 or 4 figures in this, which is terrific. And then we get a winch on the front as well. And I think the winch is actually kind of what spoils the look of this, but it's a terrific play feature. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had here for kids. I think there are possibly ways you could reduce the cost by not including this, for example. So I think that the price point is at least €5 too high, but I think overall as a play set, there's lots of fun to be had here. We're now moving on to what I think is the highlight of the range. And the reason that I think that is because we actually get here 3 emergency vehicles in one set. And I don't think that's ever been done by Lego before. So we actually get an ambulance, a police car, and a fire helicopter. And then on top of that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minifigures, a side build, and a headquarters, and a bike. Curiously enough, don't think this set comes with an animal. But it does come with a grill, which has been caught on fire, and a couple of apples. But I think that the main selling point here is that you get all 3 of these emergency vehicles as well as the headquarters at a really good price. This is €65 and it's 706 pieces. So this is where I'd like to just quickly compare this with the recycling truck. You know, this is more than half the price of the emergency headquarters. Here we have 3 figures, 1 vehicle and a side build. In this set we get 5 figures, 3 vehicles and a side build, plus we get a whole headquarters and we get a bike. And it's €30 more. So the price to part ratio is way better. I just don't even understand. I don't understand the pricing here at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. This actually even comes with one of the new road plates underneath there. And in previous sets where the road plates have been included, the price has been a bit too high. So I think it's great to see that the road plate is included, but we've still got a really good value price point. I think overall the set looks very modern. I think they're nice modern builds. We have a brand new piece for the front of the police car with these angled bits here. We have solar panels, of course, and then we have sort of 3 sections of the headquarters, which we can just have a very quick look at. So here we have a kind of control station where we have a screen for each of the emergency services, and we have what looks like a treadmill in the corner, a little drink. But what's underneath is not quite clear to me because we haven't got any images of that at this point. I think the helicopter is actually quite a good design considering how many times they've regurgitated more or less the same design. I mean, it's probably the least exciting part of the set, but I think as helicopters go, I think it's pretty good. And I like the print on the helicopter driver's face as well. In fact, there's several good points to make about the figures. I think that the alternative face with the surgical mask is good, and the torso print is nice. On the ambulance driver, I believe that is. We also get a broken arm piece there, which can be, of course, used on any figure. We have an old lady with a terrific looking face, and then we get a pretty standard looking policeman and a robber with a furry leather coat. But I think all in all, for the price point, this is an absolute must-buy for any kid, really. There's just tons of playability here, good-looking set, good figures, almost nothing negative to say about this one, really. Great job, Lego. Finally, then, we have the Police Training Academy. I think this one is not quite as good value, but I think there's still a lot of play features here. I think it's not a very realistic set. It's kind of got this crazy obstacle course that goes all over it. But in terms of playability, there's lots to be had here. So let's have a quick look. We have a sort of flying fox coming down from the top here. We have monkey bars along the top. We have a climbing wall going up there, or abseiling up the side there. We then have this sort of water area here, and I think when you turn that, it's going to spin this, which will make these go up and down, and then this will kind of swing in and out here as well. And I'm not quite sure what that does, but I believe it will probably move somehow. There's quite a lot to be said for this one, to be honest with you. I like the gym inside. There's a sort of bench pressing area here with some dumbbells. And then over here, I'm not quite sure what this area is here, but we also get a sort of obstacle course here for the horse, which is nice that it's included. Finally, I actually think it's worth having a quick look at the minifigures. I originally thought that this hairpiece was a mullet. It's actually very close looking to a mullet in some of the other images, particularly this one. But I think the minifigures are cracking, absolutely cracking. Look at this guy. He's got so much character to him with his goatee and his slick hair. And then we then get this police. She looks like a police boss, doesn't she? Police chief. She really does. She looks the business. Nice printing for the badge there, and the face is very nice with the creases in the cheeks. This guy's also absolutely awesome with the hair and the face print and the whistle around his neck. And then the last few characters here, they've also got tons of appeal and usability. I think in general, this set is a lot of fun. I think I would choose the emergency headquarters over this one, but I still think there's a lot to be said for this one as well. So that's all for my thoughts on the Lego City range. I think this is the best release of new Lego City sets that I've seen in quite some time, in all honesty. The amount of good pieces and playability in the €10 sets really help. But then the mid-price sets also have a lot to be said for them. Great parts, great designs, great colours, A lot of very good minifigs, but most of all, and most importantly for Lego City, is that there's lots and lots of playability here. So I think in general, really, really well done to Lego for this range. I'll certainly be picking up more from this range than I have done in previous years.
So I think that's just about it for this video. I'd be very interested to hear what you think of the Lego City range. I may be doing 1 or 2 more reaction videos to the new sets that are coming. I also have a couple of others in mind, including an update to the Western mock, which I have growing in the corner over there. But if you did enjoy the video, please drop me a like and consider subscribing if you like the content. And if you have any thoughts yourself about the Lego City range, please do let me know in the comments section and I'll be sure to reply. So thanks for watching and bye for now.